Hey there, welcome back. In this part of the course, we are going to talk about the request library, what you can do with it, and when is the best time to use it. So let's get going. You're probably asking yourself, what exactly can you do with the request library? First, let me remind you that we used it in the IMDb simple scraper that we just did. Request is the most easiest and fastest way of submitting a request to a server. Let me put it into perspective by giving you some examples. When you enter a website, a basic GET request to the server is first sent. That will give you the initial content, the HTML response. With request, you can basically do the same thing, but you write that action yourself in nodeJs instead of the browser handling everything for you. Here we have another example. When you want to log in and you write your username and password into a website, a POST request is made, sending the details of your account to the server for confirmation, to confirm your login. This also can be done with request in nodeJs, manually. You can basically simulate every or any request that the browser does to any website. You just gotta give it the right parameters at the right time. In the case of Internet Movie Database Scraper, we used it as a GET request so that we can get the HTML and parse it. Here we are going to talk about some pros and cons of using request with nodeJs. Since you literally control every parameter that you send to the server, it can get overwhelming sometimes in certain cases. Let me put it into perspective with a simple example. A login process, as you might see from the previous slide, can consist of one simple POST request to the server with the username and password, depending on the website, continuing with a simple response with some cookies or a token. In this case, the request method is ideal. Or the login system can consist of multiple requests on a simple login form. Some websites automatically send more requests for security reasons, or because of how they were built, and you can find yourself in a situation where you would have to simulate 10, 5 or even more requests just so that you can solve the login problem. In that case, you don't want to do it with request. I've been there myself, and of course it is doable, but it is time consuming and it can be frustrating. A lot of things can go wrong. You can miss a simple parameter in the headers of the request and the server that you're trying to reach will not accept you. It just depends on the situation, but again, I would not suggest you to go the request route if you have a lot of requests to simulate. That should be simple. So if the website is more complex and automatically sends AJAX requests with different parameters and tokens and stuff like that, the best method would be a headless browser, which I'm going to also cover in the following lectures. Okay, so when to actually use the request method? Here are some good times when you should choose the request method for scraping. When you have an API-based website, a website where every or most of the requests are done with AJAX calls. If the response is JSON, it is even easier for you. If the website has a simple basic authentication where a pop-up in the browser would appear asking for only username or password, you can get past that with just 2 lines of code. If the website is not dynamically rendered. Why we should not try to scrape dynamically rendered websites with request? Because the websites will fill the content of the website after the initial request, after the HTML, CSS and JavaScript is loaded. A simple example of this would be Facebook or even Instagram. You enter it and you see a blank page with some structure in it, and then the content starts appearing. Also, downloading files from certain websites can be very easy to do with request library. I think you've guessed by now. In the easier times, you should use request, but when the website has a lot of extra security behind it and is dynamically rendered, then you should choose another route and maybe a headless browser. These are just a few examples. Please keep in mind that these are just suggestions and not rules. And even rules can be broken when you get good at it. You will get used to this as you start scraping and investigating. I will also cover the reasons why we should choose different methods of scraping when we do bigger coding examples. I really hope that you are not skipping these first lectures because they are laying the foundation of scraping. Soon we will also start to code again. So thank you for watching.